So today we're talking about volumes of prisms. So by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to determine and solve problems involving the volume of the prism. Some vocabulary you need to know. A prism is a three-dimensional shape with two bases connected by rectangles. We call a prism by the shape of the base, so triangular, and rectangular, two we're going to deal with mainly in 7th grade. Other vocabulary words you need to know is volume, which is the amount of space an object takes up. You also need to know base, length, and height, but those are the three dimensions that we use to find volume. How do we find volume? First thing you need to know is that all volume is you label with cubic units, so cubic centimeters, cubic inches, cubic feet, and so on and so forth, because there's three dimensions used in finding volume. We find volume by multiplying the area of the base times the height. So our formula is volume equals area of the base times the height. You need to know that little b, which is base, does not equal capital B, which is area of the base. Make sure that that's a difference. A lot of times in STAR, they will already give you capital B for you to find either the volume or the height with capital B. Here are the shortcut formulas. We really don't use them much in 7th grade, but they do exist if you'd like to use them. Okay, here's our first problem. Our first problem here is a triangular prism, and you can tell it is triangular prism because of the two triangles for the base. Something you need to be aware of, because STAR will do it, and it confuses a lot of people, is that the rectangle that it sits on is not the base. It is one of the lateral surfaces, so make sure that you know the difference. Okay. Here's how we're going to find volume. So once again, volume of all prisms is volume equals area of the base times the height. We find area of a triangle by multiplying 1/2 times base times height. So if you look at it this way, our longer formula would volume equals 1/2 base of the triangle times height of the triangle times the height of the prism. Now it is straight multiplication, so the numbers don't necessarily have to be in any particular order as long as you put them and plug them in. So volume equals 1/2 times 4 times 3, because those are the dimensions of the triangle, and then times 8, which is the height of the prism. So volume equals 1/2 times 4, which is 2, times 3, which is 6, times 8. Our volume equals 48 centimeters cubed. The next shape we're going to look at is a rectangular prism, and here they shaded the base so you can know which one the base is. They generally do that for rectangular prisms, but they will also shade the bottom rectangle for triangular prisms for some reason to try to confuse you. So just make sure that you know that if it's shaded on a rectangular prism, that's generally what they consider the base. So once again, our volume formula is volume equals area of the base times the height. We find area of a rectangle by base times height. So our volume formula in the long form would be volume equals base of the rectangle times the height of the rectangle times the height of the prism. So volume is going to equal 5 times 7 times 10. So volume equals 35 times 10. Our final answer is volume equals 350 cubic centimeters. And once again, remember the labels are very important here. Star might at some point give you the same answer, but give you centimeters squared, or just plain old centimeters, trying to make you choose the correct label and not necessarily the correct answer. And last but not least, we have our friendly neighborhood cube. Now remember with cubes that all dimensions are the same, so the base, height, length are all the same. So our long formula for volume is area of the base times the height. But on a cube, volume equals side cubed. And that's where the term cube comes from, because it's the number times itself 3 different times. So volume equals 9 cubed, which, if you use your calculator, is 729 cubic centimeters. So cubes are pretty much the easiest to find, as long as you know one side, and they will generally not give you all 3 dimensions on a cube. They will just give you one and tell you, hey, this is a cube. So you need to know that cube has all sides equal the same.